On today's episode of PhotoKitchen, we test out microphones, fix the audio using AI, and then spend way too much time on YouTube trying to find funny audio references in movies.
And now, direct from Crete, welcome the silky smooth sound of Airman Adrian Cronin.
Hello and welcome to episode 111 of PhotoKitchen. I'm your humble host, MD Welch, and today on the menu, we're talking about different types of microphones for doing interviews, documentary work, talking heads, stuff like this. Now, I want to say at the very beginning of this video, I have a few declarations to get out of the way. First and foremost, I'm not an audiophile. I'm not an audio technician. My knowledge of audio is enough to get my work done. I am not an audio expert, and the microphones that we're reviewing here are kind of just a different ensemble of gear that I use for that type of work. So if you're just needing to know what's the difference between, say, a lavalier or a boom mic or something like that, this is great for you. But I'm not going to get into different types of microphones or compare one model to another model or really get into hyper specifics about setting things up. This is what is going to work best for certain conditions. Another thing to mention, and you probably already heard it or you may be hearing it now, I have already fixed this audio using artificial intelligence, which I'm going to show you how to do that at the end of this video.
Enhance.
If you're just starting off with audio, not only do you need to know what mic to use, but you probably also want a simple and easy way to fix that audio. And I'm going to show you that at the end of the video. But when I cut in and out of that, what you're hearing is a swamp cooler going full tilt in the next room, because we're in the dog days of summer still at the time of this recording. And I also have a movie playing in my television set in the living room in the other room. Now, the cinematic masterpiece that is Battleship, you will hear that dialogue, that action, and that's kind of filling in for a noisy room of people talking, and my swamp cooler is filling in for just ambient or room noise that you might get. And that way you could hear how each style of these microphones handles those particular issues, and also how it sounds raw or right out of the microphone, and also how well it gets fixed using artificial intelligence. And again, we'll get to that at the end of the video. So let's introduce the ingredients for today. We have 4 microphones, starting first with the lavalier or lav microphone. This is my number one mic. This is what I go to for almost all of my interviews and also when I'm shooting inside of PhotoKitchen. Now, this is a great microphone because it allows you to mount it close to the person that you're recording. That means you're going to get a better quality of audio. And keep in mind that audio is like light and heat. It operates on the inverse square law. So the closer the microphone is, the less powerful ambient noise might sound. So you could really kind of take care of a lot of ambient issues by getting the microphone as close to the audio source as possible. And the lavalier is probably the best all-around solution for this. But it does come with a few drawbacks. First of all, you have to clip this onto somebody. You have to run cables through shirts. It could be a little bit awkward, a little bit weird. And also, depending on what wardrobe people are wearing, it can make mounting a lavalier a little bit difficult.
Paragraph 2.
Talk normally.
The defendant shall participate in undercover activities,
Breathe normally.
including wearing a recording device, also known as a wire.
After 5 minutes, you'll forget you even have it on.
That is just something you have to work around. Now, there's all sorts of cool tricks and tips, different types of attachments, different waist amount of lav. I've just done it with the traditional newscaster mid-sternum, not super close to the nose, so it doesn't get as nasally, hopefully, although I'm always nasally. And it's not too far away. But you can mount it in the knot of a tie. You can mount it underneath collars. There's all sorts of different ways to mount this. You can even mount it in hair, and there's all sorts of great videos on YouTube to walk you through this particular process. But we've mounted it here. I am using a wireless lav for this. I was going to use an XLR or a cabled microphone, as I have here with this handheld, which we'll get to in a second, but I was running out of space. I was running out of cables, so we've gone wireless here. The pros and cons of wireless for any audio source is you have to monitor the wireless frequencies, make sure you don't get any interference, and of course, constantly check your batteries. As far as wireless versus wired for lav, if somebody's not getting up and they're not walking around, a wired lav might be a great way to go because you don't have to worry about batteries or anything like that, but you still have to run a long cable. And if they get up and they forget that they're wearing a lavalier, which happens more often than not, now all of a sudden you got to worry about them knocking over or tearing down equipment. So I'm going wireless for this, as I do for most of my interviews and also for most of my episodes in PhotoKitchen. Now, the second audio source is this boom mic or shotgun mic, and you've probably already seen this as I've probably cut back and forth to the wide shot several times, showing you how the sausage is made here in PhotoKitchen.
This is my boomstick.
Now, I'm going to stand in the ideal spot for where this should be placed. This is a shotgun microphone on a boom pole or a fly pole or a fishing pole. I've heard all of it. And it's mounted into a blimp, which has a little bit of shock resistance and also makes it easier to mount things like a dead cat. This is a Rode, I think it's an NT3, so it's Australian, so they call it a dead wombat. But this particular setup is great for interviews as well, because it allows you to not have to lavalier people up. You don't have to click microphones on people. And if you have a lot of different people walking in, you can just mark the floor, have them stand in, just make sure they're underneath the microphone, and you're going to get a really good audio recording from them. However, this picks up far more ambient noise than the lavalier microphone does. And if I've cut back and forth, and I probably already have, you could hear the difference in when the audio is fixed comparatively to when the audio is not fixed. Now, because of how good audio is being fixed these days, I'm starting to think about using this more and more for my interviews, especially for PhotoKitchen, because then I don't have to be laved up. I could walk around. I don't have to worry about batteries. This could just be an XLR cable in. It's running down, and I can get a good audio source and maybe make it a little bit better using AI technology. So I will be interested on how good this audio is. But it's important to point out how good your audio is to start, just like ingredients when you're cooking, is going to dictate how good the finished process is. So if this is very problematic and picking up a lot of audio issues in the room, you're going to have to do a lot to fix those issues, and that might affect the overall quality, even if you get rid of that ambient sound or those issues that are being caused, or maybe just volume of the particular person you're recording. Speaking of volume, this lavalier is set to manual. I checked my levels before I started recording, but because I couldn't stand underneath this particular boom mic and monitor audio here, I have this set to automatic on my cameras, just to point that out.
Run every frequency you can think of!
The next microphone is another shotgun mic, and it is mounted on that camera over there, my wide shot. It's an on-camera shotgun microphone. It is by and far the worst audio source out of the four that we're doing today. But it's also the easiest to use, the easiest to maintain, the easiest to control, and the one you should always have going. Because plug in an XLR mic into your camera, or if it's a mini phono or something like that, into like a DSLR or mirrorless camera, and you're going to have an okay audio source. It's not going to be great. It's not even maybe even going to be good. But if your other audio cuts out, this could save a project. Especially now with AI fixes, you might be able to get an okay audio source once you fix the shotgun issues. And again, because it's so far away, it's picking up a lot more ambient noise. I sound like I'm in a large room. It's going to pick up reverb. All of those things are going to happen with the shotgun. But again, super easy to use, super easy to maintain, no muss, no fuss. You should always have an on-camera shotgun mic going for every project that you're doing, because it doesn't hurt anything. It's a small thing. It packs up easily. It doesn't take up a lot of space. And it is maybe the best insurance policy that you could have when doing audio recordings in situations like this. The last audio microphone of the day is the Live at 5, the Sportscaster, the handheld microphone, ladies and gentlemen.
We're at the midway point. Is that my camera?
Now, this is also set manually. I checked my levels beforehand. Also, the shotgun mic on the camera is set automatically, just like the shotgun on the boom above here. So handheld and lavalier are both set manually on the camera. Now, take note, I'm not speaking as loud because this is so close to the audio source that I don't have to account for how loud the room is. This is both good and bad. This is probably going to give you the best audio source or quality, especially in noisy environments. And it's the reason why reporters and sportscasters still use this, because you just get the microphone closer to the mouth and it's going to cut out the ambient sound and it's going to be easier to control. The problem with this is if you're constantly moving the microphone around, just like this mic above here, and you start to walk away from it, you get away from that source or that recording device and the audio drops off fast. Now that gets into microphone patterns, polar, omnidirectional, hypercardioid, all that kind of stuff. And I'm not going to go down that path. But basically, you need to have the mouth right in front of this mic or right in front of this mic for it to work well. The lavalier is the same, but you're not really moving the person around. The only issue with the lavalier is if somebody's doing a demo, you might pick up more audio as you're looking down at the counter comparatively to looking at camera. With the handheld, at least somebody when they're looking at the camera or being interviewed, usually the source is going to stay the same way. But a downside to this is while it's great for person on the street kind of stuff, or maybe interviewing people in a noisy room, if you have that microphone and you have them hold it, they might not realize they don't need to yell. So you're going to have to really monitor your levels. And if you're going back and forth with somebody, when you pass that mic over to them, they might be a lot louder than you. They might be a lot quieter than you. They might get the mic super close. They might get the mic far away. And that is going to impact the source of the audio. But noisy rooms, super crowded rooms, the reason why you see people having handheld mics at these events is not because it's like something cool to do. It's just maybe the most effective microphone in a noisy room. It's just not really good for interviews or anything like that because you're having somebody hold a mic. It doesn't look realistic. Certainly not good for documentary work. But if you're doing your own YouTube channel or some sort of social media, you could get the little microphone, little covers, the little bugs, and you could do some branding there, and you could have a little bit of fun with it. A lot of people are using the smaller DJI microphones, and they're just clipping them to crazy objects. I'm going to start doing it to a spatula. It's the same thing as this. It's just getting the audio source closer to the mouth, and that's why this is by and far the best for super noisy environments like this one. And it'll be interesting to see how little audio fixing that I have to do using this handheld in post comparatively to something like the shotgun on the camera or even the boom shotgun above me.
Are you doing something dirty? Are you doing something your parents don't know about?
So I've been talking about audio fixes. Let me share with you how I'm doing audio at the time of this recording. Now, there are dedicated audio programs. Adobe has their own. I think it's Audition, something like that. I hardly ever use it. It's very complicated because it's all audio, and I just need to get audio in, do some stuff, and get it out. I don't use all the bells and whistles of it. So more often than not, I'm using audio features in Adobe Premiere. Their Essential Sounds panel is really good for fixing audio. But even better, with even less overhead or interface, and something you could be up and running with in a matter of minutes, is Adobe Podcast, which is free if you have the Adobe Cloud. It's very simple to use. Export out your clip or export out your timeline as an audio-only file. You could upload the whole movie file, but it takes way too long. Just export out the audio and then upload it to Adobe Podcast. It has not one, but two sliders now, but that's it. Only two sliders. One slider to control the audio quality of the thing that's causing the audio to happen, and another slider to remove the background noise in the area where the audio source is. It's simple to use, very straightforward.
Can you modify the probe signals, accounting for density and temperature and salinity factors?
I can try, sir.
Now, as far as workflow goes, I used to take the whole timeline after I'd done the whole edit and just export out the whole finished timeline as one audio clip, and then that would give me one audio clip back. I would just swap out all the little cuts, drop in my main audio source, and be done with it. I've changed my mind on that now. I think what I'm doing, and the best solution to this, is take the audio sources right out of your recorder, right out of your camera, and then just export them out as an audio file, put them into Adobe Podcast. That way AI could also listen to the empty room or room tone that you should usually record. Always record about 10 to 30 seconds of room tone so you can just isolate what's going on in the room. So that way the AI can do that as well. And also, if I need to make additional edits or cuts, a client comes back and says, hey, listen, I need 10 more seconds of the person saying that or something like that. I don't have to do that, then re-export out the whole timeline. I already have the audio fixed. But again, super simple, just requires a cloud subscription. I don't think there's a free version, but I'll double check on that. And if there is, I'll have some sort of text on the screen right now. But it is well worth the money. It's a huge time saver. Again, especially if you're like me and you're not a huge audio person and you just need to get the job done. And I do want to be clear, all of this audio gear has been a good investment, a great investment actually, because there's not a piece of gear here that's really going to go obsolete at any particular time. So do make a good investment in audio gear. But I'm in the middle of the road on everything. I'm in the middle of the road of the different types of microphones that I'm using. I'm in the middle of the road of my audio fixes. Again, as I said at the beginning, I'm not an audio technician. I'm not an audiophile. But this works for just about all of my clients. It works for my YouTube channel. And if you're just starting off, it's going to work for you as well. And you're going to get an audio quality that you really like. Hey, speaking of like, I hope you've liked this video. If so, please hit that like button down below. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And if you have, thank you so much for your support. And of course, if you know anybody who's just getting into audio or they're struggling with what mic to use in what situation, this would be a great video to share with them. So until next time, I'm MD Welch wishing you all the best from PhotoKitchen.